Big tech firms are urging the Biden administration to help speed up the backlog over worker visas. The State Department estimates roughly 280,000 employee-based green cards will be available this year, but companies worry that the delay to process them will lead to thousands of visas being wasted. That could mean losing out on some of the most talented workers in an already tight labor market. For more on this, let's bring in Karan Bhatia. He is Google VP of Government Affairs and Public Policy. Karan, it's good to talk to you today. Give me a state of play right now, what this means for Google specifically.
Well, hey, Akiko. Look, the ability to attract and retain the world's top talent is absolutely critical to America's technology leadership. Companies like Google depend upon having green cards and visas to be able to bring in the world's best computer scientists, the best software engineers. And so figuring out a solution to this problem is really important.
How significant a backlog are we talking about?
Well, you've seen that last year, 65,000 visas went unused. The backlog itself is taking years, in some cases decades, for people to get processed through. So they come in on temporary visas, legally, of course, but it can take years, many, many years for them ultimately to be converted into green cards. And in the interim period, you have people who are unsure as to what their future is going to be, and companies that are unsure that they can continue to utilize that talent. So it's really, it's a problem.
Hey, Karan, Brian Cheung here. So I guess it's not necessarily about the amount or the supply of these green cards and visas, but the process itself. How do you get that timeline shortened? Is that a conversation you've tried to have with those in D.C.?
Yeah, we have. And look, there's no one single bullet here. I think some of this is a matter of increased resourcing. Certainly COVID has posed a challenge. But there are also things that can be done legislatively here. We've been a big supporter of a bipartisan bill called the EAGLE Act that's been put forward by Representative Lofgren and Representative Curtis that would do a number of things, including removing country-based restrictions that currently cap out the number of green cards that can be issued for any individual country. And so simply doing that would allow more green cards to be processed in a year, would help address that backlog problem. So it's a combination of things, resources, and probably some legal change as well.
You know, in terms of visas, I mean, this has been a multi-year issue that I know has especially hit the tech firms hard. You look at what happened under the Trump administration, limiting the number of H-1B visas, those workers, many of them going towards tech jobs. And now you've got this backlog that stems all the way back to the pandemic. What has this meant from a strategy standpoint for Google? I know you need these visas to get some of the most talented workers when it's already a very competitive environment. How are you thinking about getting around this within the company?
Well, look, it is a very competitive environment, Akiko. I mean, we are competing every day with, the world's great technology firms. And the reality is that these visas are going for the top level talent around the world. These are computer scientists. These are people generating the next generation of artificial intelligence technology. We as a country have every interest in making sure that those people continue to innovate, continue to create jobs and new products here in the United States. And so, look, as a company, we continue to do our best to bring that talent in and to be able to integrate it into our workforce. We also look to continue to, when we need to, partner with people or use talent externally outside, but there's no substitute for having those people in as part of our workforce.
And then lastly here, I want to ask just kind of about some of the geopolitical news headlines that we've been seeing, not to speak to any specific one, but there's this kind of, I guess, question overarching about whether or not a lot of large companies will choose to, pare back their operations, keep it centralized. Let's say, for example, in the United States, does that reflect or affect the ability of a company like Google to recruit from places like China or other types of regions where there might be geopolitical concerns about the free flow of, talent and labor between the two countries?
Yeah, Brian, look, I think we continue to see the United States as a really attractive destination for the world's great talent. We continue to see American universities, and particularly the STEM fields, computer science, engineering, being very attractive to students from around the world. The challenge is holding on to that talent and being able to really enable the country as a whole to benefit from the creations that they're going to bring forward. I look back at history and you think about companies like Apple, like Amazon, like Tesla, and like my own company, Google, Alphabet, which were either founded by immigrants or by children of immigrants. The key is maintaining that dynamism, and that's going to depend on getting this issue resolved.
And finally, Karan, I know your company, as well as others like Microsoft, have spoken out in the past about the support for Dreamers, specifically those who are children of people who are working within your company. Once they turn 21, they're not able to get the green card immediately. I'm curious where that fits into this conversation, in what you would say to the administration and lawmakers, more importantly, about a potential need for shift in that.
Yeah, look, Akiko, we have been longtime supporters of comprehensive immigration reform. We believe that the system does need to be improved fundamentally, and that includes in this area of green cards, but it also it includes H-1B visas, for instance, where the system right now is taking too long. There's too much uncertainty. And it becomes a challenge for American companies to be able to be confident in what that labor flow is going to look like. And again, this all comes down to global competitiveness. How can we be at the forefront of what is an increasingly competitive market for international talent?